Hi everybody, old Gary Heydrich here with this week's Fishing Chums Fishing Report. Welcome. By golly, we got some nice weather coming our way. Woo, I hope so. It's been hot, hasn't it? Been crazy September. But now I understand we're going to be in the low 80s for about a week. Let's take it. We're going to get out there and catch some fish. Well, welcome to the show today. Golly, I want to thank all the viewers last week. We had over 7,000 viewers, and after Labor Day, that's a lot of folks. We want to thank you very much. All you folks on Facebook, and I tell you what, we're just having a great time here on Fishing Chums. Fun show today, fun show. We have the photo of the week coming up at the end of the program. Now you're going to want to stick around because this is a giant fish that was caught a couple days ago out at Norfolk Lake. Oh, it's a dandy, so don't go anywhere. It's a good one. And we have several photos to show you today on today's program I know you're going to enjoy. So we have good crappie reports. My gosh, the crappie keep biting. We have reports from out at Beaver. We've got good reports at Stockton, Palmy, over at Truman, and some pretty good bass reports as well, and a few walleye reports. So we've got a lot to talk about here on today's program. So let's go fishing.
Fish and Chums!
Once again, do not go anywhere because we have some great photos, and that photo of the week is unbelievable. You have to look at this. It's a great fish tail, that's for sure. And Kathy and I have some great photos at the end of the program we want to share with you. A lot of fun. And we do want to say welcome to Kathy Adams for joining our team here at Fishing Chums. My great buddy Brandon is back at school back east, and he is so busy that we have Kathy joining us to help me out a little bit, and so we're really looking forward to working with Kathy. All right, let's go out to Beaver Lake. My golly, this morning when I checked, the water temperature on the surface was 83 degrees. That's not bad for this time of year, especially for all the hot weather we've been having. And we're going to go to a photo right away because, boy, they have really been catching some nice crappie. In fact, look at this crappie here that Ranch Carter caught. He was out with the Huck Finn's Guide Service the other day, and they really got into some nice crappie, and that is at Beaver Lake. So, boy, you can catch crappie at Beaver right now. And some people are finding some standing timber. Other people are just finding the shad and getting into them. Jig and minnow seems to be the best overall bait. Some people are picking up a few around the docks as well. A few walleye have been caught out at Beaver as well. They've been trolling some flicker shads off the points. Seem like the fish are in about 25, 30 feet of water. Other people have been using some jig and night crawlers, but trolling seems to be working good. And they've been picking up some, the bass fishing's been fair. Not many people bass fishing right now out there, but there's a little topwater bite at Beaver. And also they've been throwing some plastics and some of the brush piles, picking up a fish on occasion. And they've been using on windy days. We haven't had many windy days. Square-billed crankbaits have been working somewhat. A few shad are starting to move up those creek areas at Beaver. All right, let's go out to Table Rock. Table Rock. The water temperature this morning was 84 degrees, and some pretty good fishing taking place. It's been so hot, the activity's been down a little bit. I was out earlier in the week with my great friend Tracy. Look at this. Took her out, my buddy Tracy. First time she ever went fishing really on Table Rock. First bass she ever caught. Look at this nice bass, my buddy Tracy. Whoo boy. A lot of fun with you out there, boy, a lot of fun. We caught some bass and some big bluegill too. All right, speaking of photos, this is the girls' week here on Fishing Chum. Lori Mitchell was out the other day with the girls, took her girl pals out, and look at this nice fish. They caught several bass over the weekend at Table Rock. Lori, good going, young lady. Nice fish. All you girls caught some good fish out there. So the bass fishing, keep a topwater rig handy. You never know when some bass are going to pop some shad to the surface. So I always have, a lot of people always keep a topwater bait handy in case this happens. You might pick up a fish or two. And they've been still kind of the same summer pattern, although it's changing a little bit at Table Rock. You can still do some drop shot fishing in 30 to 40 feet over the timber, pick up a few fish. You can get back on those long points and throw the jigs and football jigs, kind of your favorite dressing. Peanut butter and jelly, still a good color. Pitch it up there 15, 20, 25, near 30 feet of water and drag it and catch some fish doing this way. Also, you can set back if you see a little bit of shad activity on that point, big gravel point. You can get down there with a Ned rig and pick up a fish as well. And they've been picking up some fish on windy days, but again, it hasn't been very windy. But if you have some wind this weekend, get out there on square-billed crankbaits, you can pick up some fish. Now, there's some shad moving back into creek areas. You can go way back into creek areas or just go till you find big schools of shad. You can throw square-billed crankbaits. You can pitch some grubs up in there and pick up a fish on occasion, and even a little topwater bite. You might try a buzzbait, who knows, and slow roll a spinnerbait. So some bass fishing has been pretty good at Table Rock. Now, if you want to get around and do some dock fishing, they've been pitching out some jigs and working the docks and occasionally getting in there some spoons and picking up some fish around the dock. So Table Rock looks good for the upcoming weekend. And they've been picking up a few crappie. Not many people crappie fishing, but the ones who are picking up some nice fish, quality fish. Still, the reports I get are up in the James River, Cape Fair area around the brush piles, 15 feet. You know, with the longer, shorter days, I should say, the shorter days now in the fall, it's starting to happen right now. Some of these fish are going to be moving shallower. So if you're not finding them deeper, these crappie, go a little bit shallower because these shorter days will bring them up a little bit. And jig and minnows have been the best overall bait. How about walleye? My golly, you bet. My old buddy Scott Pringle, he's a walleye fisherman. He's really doing good this year. I think he's doing better than I am. In fact, I know he is. Look at this photo. He was out over the past weekend. Good going, my buddy Scott. Golly, hey, we're going to go out in the next few days, that's for sure. And he were picking up his fish in about 38 feet of water. The thermocline's around 28, and he was using the flicker shad in fishing these points and secondary points at Table Rock, catching walleye. Now, I'd recommend trying the White River, and I've had reports also up the James River. A few bass fishermen. I've had 4 or 5 pictures this week of bass fishermen catching walleye while bass fishing. So the walleye are on the move at Table Rock. Okay, I want to go to Lake Taneycomo right now. Boy, there's been some big fish caught out there, hasn't there? Bill caught that near world record, that state record fish the other day here a couple of weeks ago. And this is the bait that they've been using out there. That little pink worm. This is a pink shad. Some people are using a pure pink. And that's a Berkeley trout worm. And that's all there is to it. And I tell you what, some people are using small hooks, hooking it wacky style, pitching it out. Now this is a floating worm, and they'll get it out there with a little weight and just kind of work it in. And boy, they've been catching some nice trout at Lake Taneycomo on the Berkeley pink trout worm. Boy, some nice fish. That's a huge fish Bill caught the other day. Monster fish. Also, they've been doing some fly fishing when they're not running any water up there. It's been pretty good this week. A lot of fish are being caught. And then at times, it's either late morning or even early afternoon, they're running water. And drift fishing, still picking up some fish on night crawlers. And when they're not running water, though, boy, I tell you what, these pink worms are doing good. And another thing, that water's real clear. Go to like a 2-pound, no more than 4-pound. And still use those jigs, 32nd, 64th ounce jig. The olive green's been working this week. Cinnamon's been working, brown with a little bit of chartreuse. And boy, pitch that out, especially when they're not running any water, and just work it real slow, real slow. You'll pick up some fish. Out at, okay, by the way, I said the water temperature at Table Rock was 84 degrees. At Taneycomo, it's always cooler. This morning it was 54 degrees coming out of that deep water at Table Rock. Let's go out at Shoals. The water temperature out there this morning was 84 degrees. That's not bad. All right, let's go out to Shoals Lake. My golly, that water temperature out there this morning was 84 degrees, and they've been picking up some bass out there. Been real quiet. It's tough fishing overall, but they have been picking up some fish, some nice smallmouth. And I want to go show this photo. Here's another gal. Boy, they're killing us guys this week. Maddie Fellows was out the other day fishing out of Sis Creek Resort in that area. Look at this nice fish, Maddie. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Nice smallmouth. Wow, good going, young lady. And nice smallmouth out at Bull Shoals. By the way, they've been picking up some crappie at Bull Shoals as well. Some really, the crappie population has been hardly hurt at all the last couple of years out there. So the fish they're catching are really nice quality. And so you may want to go out to Bull Shoals and try some crappie fishing around some brush piles, and also around some of the marinas. They've been picking up a few crappie as well. And they've been picking up a few walleye out at Bull Shoals. And I tell you what they've been doing. The walleye fishermen are using these bottom bouncers, these lead bottom bouncers, getting out there and tying the leader on it. And I tell you what they've been doing is using a little spinner with a half a night crawler, bouncing off those points and secondary points and catching fish out at Bull Shoals. Some people have been using jigs and night crawlers. Other people have been trolling crankbaits, such as, of course, the flicker shad at Bull Shoals. Getting back to the bass right quick out there, they've been picking up some real nice bass at times when they do find them, when the weather conditions right. But the shad are moving up a little bit shallow, and you might be able to find a point, secondary points of shad in about 15 to 20 feet of water. Some people have been spooning around these points. Other people are using some grubs, and some people are using, I tell you what, just some drop shots and picking up fish out there. Some bass fishing has been fair at Bull Shoals, but it's been so hot and still, it's been tough the last few days. All right, let's go out to Stockton this morning. The water temperature was 82 degrees. And we want to go to Rick Flint. He was out the other day, and look at this box of crappie he caught. Boy, there's been a lot of crappie caught at Stockton, no doubt about it. For the few people that have been toughing out this hot weather condition the last few days, they're picking up fish. And I tell you, here's another gal picture I want to show you. Kyle Keeling was out the other day. They took their paddle boat out one evening, I think Saturday evening. He and his wife just out from the house, went out there, and she threw up in kind of shallow water. And look at Mrs. Keeling here. Look at that beautiful walleye out at Stockton. Good going, young lady. Nice fish, nice fish. And so they've been picking up crappie, walleye. The walleye, I tell you another thing, kind of like Bull Shoals, some of the people have been using these bottom bouncers and using spinners out there off the points. Anywhere from 15, 20, 25 feet of water, and just slow trolling these bottom bouncers with spinners, and they have been picking up some walleye doing this. Other people have been trolling the flicker shad type baits or the flicker shad, and people are pitching out jig and night crawlers, just kind of a half a night crawler, picking up some walleye as well. Let's get back to the crappie right quick. My golly, they're catching a lot of crappie. The guys are going out and toughing out the hot weather. I've had very good reports this week on crappie. I had a lot of you folks send us photos. We'll have some of those on at the end of the program. But my guys, they've been getting them, the crappie and some of the standing timber and the brush. And the crappie are moving up a little bit with these short days in around 15 feet of water. And so look out for crappie. And there's still some fish, by the way, on the flats out there as well. Palmy de Terre, the water temperature was 83 degrees out there this morning. And Eric Massey, I tell you, he's a crappie fisherman. Boy, I've had a lot of photos of Eric this last week fishing out at Palm de Terre. And they have really been catching some nice fish over the brush piles out there. And some people have been picking up a few around the docks. But don't say Palmy's dead, because it's alive. Eric has really been getting them out there. In fact, my buddy Jeff Deckard was out there the other day and picked up a nice box of crappie as well. So don't overlook Palm de Terre. Somebody asked how usually this time of the year the big muskies are rolling a little bit, but no, I think it's been too hot for them. Nothing happening on the muskie. But boy, they're crappie fishing. A few people that's doing are really catching some fish out there. Good going, Eric and Jeff. By the way, the bass fishing has been fairly good for the people that's been going out there. It seems like big plastic worms, soft plastics, and they have been picking up some fish at times on crankbaits out there. And so, give Palmy a try this week. All right, Truman Reservoir, the water temperature was 79 degrees out there this morning. And I want to go right now, get out to Dylan Stocking. He really got into the crappie the other day out at Truman, the Great Outdoors Guide Service. Those boys really put them on some crappie. Look at these fish. And I want to tell you, there's a lot of crappie being caught for the few people fishing out at Truman right now. I mean, a lot of fish. And they've been picking up these fish a little bit shallower and off the pole timber, off the tree, the old tree lines, and any kind of trees, old dead trees getting in there. And they've been going. I heard the other day a guy caught some nice fish early in the morning in 6 to 7 foot of water, but I would say anywhere from 8 to 12 to 14 feet of water in this dead timber and the cedar trees, and the tree rows. And jig and minnow I think is the best on about all these lakes for crappie right now, either straight minnows or jigging minnows. They're like a 16th ounce. So good going Eric out there at Palmy. And good going Dylan. By golly, nice string of fish. And they've been catching those nice crappie out at Truman. By the way, other things happening out there. A few walleye have been caught by the trollers out at Truman. Flicker shads, flicker minnows off the points and secondary points, and might try up around KK Island. And just like the last couple of weeks, there have been at times getting in some surfacing white bass and hybrids out there as well. And a few nice cats have been caught up on the point, especially if you can find a point with some water going over it, the drawdown. Shad has been the best bait for your cats out there. A few bass have been caught on the points as well, big plastic worms, and also some jigs, bass jigs, like football jigs out at Truman. Lake the Ozark, boy, Mr. D has been out. Boy, he has been catching some fish out there. And a lot of crappie are being caught at Lake the Ozark like the last several weeks on the points and secondary points. The boys using crankbaits seem to be catching the larger crappie. You can catch some fish in the brush piles, but they seem to be a little bit smaller, and they're moving up. They've been around 15 to 30 feet of water, but they're a little shallower now. I would say 22 to maybe 15 feet. Try that off the points for crappie at Lake of the Ozarks. Okay, now we're going to go to the photo of the week. My golly, this photo's from Kevin Baker. And look at this young lady that was out the other day. Look at this fish. Here we go, the photo of the week. Out at Norfolk Lake at over an 18-inch crappie. Look at that. I better get out of the frame. That's an awful big fish. Good going, young lady. Boy, the ladies got us guys this week here on the program. That is a trophy fish. And she caught this on a big spoon, like a half-ounce spoon, I believe, kind of shad color. They've been out there picking up some white bass and just having some fun catching fish, and this big, giant crappie was hooked. Boy, good going, young lady out at Norfolk. By the way, they have been picking up the crappie fishing this week out at Norfolk has really caught on fire. They're really catching some nice sized crappie. The best the crappie fishing's been all summer. And so get out there and try Norfolk this week. Still picking up some crappie up around some of the man-made brush piles, but don't be afraid to just get out there and try any brush piles in the tree lines and the pole timber and so forth, the brush piles. You'll catch them. A few walleye are still being caught out at Norfolk on the bink spoon. Some people have been using some jigs as well, night crawlers, in about 25 to 28 feet of water. And the stripers, I understand, are way, way deep, around 100 feet. That's pretty deep. And so that's it. Boy, we have some photos. Kathy and I have some great photos to show you here in a minute. But we do want to thank you very much for being with us today. And be sure to share and like. If you have any friends you might like this program, share it to them. We appreciate that. Like it for us. And if you have any photos you'd like to send us or share any information, go to our email. Email us at fishandchums@gmail.com. Really appreciate that. And God bless you. Thanks for being with us today. And it's going to be cool this weekend. A little rain. Watch the rain. Watch the thunder. But I think we're going to be able to get out and get bit this weekend. And it's not going to be so hot. What a blessing. Happy outdoors, everyone. Kathy, roll those awesome photos.